My father was approaching his 60th birthday, and I wanted to do something special. He had always talked about visiting Japan, seeing the cherry blossoms in Kyoto before his knees gave out completely. My mother loved sushi like it was a religious experience. My younger brother Marcus had spent years dreaming about authentic ramen, not the cheap stuff from his college days. So I decided to plan the perfect family trip. $9,400. That's what I spent on flights, hotels, bullet train passes, and restaurant reservations. I coordinated everything around my work deadlines, spent weekends researching hotel proximity to temples and shopping districts, comparing ticket prices across multiple websites. I even upgraded their seats to premium economy while booking myself in budget class with a tiny room in Osaka. I thought this was what love looked like. I thought this was how families showed they cared for each other. But Marcus always had a way of reminding me exactly where I stood in our family hierarchy. Not the favorite, not the fun one, just the guy who pays for everything. Let me take you back to understand how we got here. It started with guilt, because that's how they hooked me. Not with love, not even with obligation. Just pure guilt wrapped in concern. My parents never asked me directly to pay for things. They were much more sophisticated than that. My mother would say things like Marcus is doing his best, but it's so hard for young people these days. You're lucky to have such a stable job. Not everyone can say that. Your father and I are so proud of you. We just wish Marcus had your drive. At first, I helped because I wanted to. Marcus was my younger brother, and I figured supporting him through college was the right thing to do. I covered his tuition, his textbooks, even bought him a new laptop when his old one mysteriously broke 2 weeks before finals. But help became expectation faster than I realized. 3 months after graduation, Marcus hadn't even applied for a single job. Still figuring things out, he would say, spending entire days playing video games on my couch, eating takeout that I paid for, in a house that I owned. I would come home from 12-hour shifts to find him with his feet up on my coffee table, and my mother would defend him every time. He just needs some time, she would tell me. Don't pressure him. My father wouldn't even look up from his tablet. Let the boy breathe, he would mutter, as if I were somehow the problem in this situation. Everything got worse when Marcus started dating Bella. She moved in exactly 2 months after they started seeing each other. No discussion about rent, no conversation about household rules. Just suddenly there she was, taking over my kitchen, my streaming accounts, my internet bandwidth. One evening, I found her trying on my dress shoes for some social media video. I'm doing a character, she said with this little smirk. Don't be weird about it. Marcus just laughed it off. Dude, relax. She's hilarious. That word would haunt me for years. Hilarious. Funny. Fun. You. Always about entertainment value, never about respect, or boundaries, or basic human decency. I stayed silent through all of it, because of family loyalty. Because of what my father might say if Marcus and I fought. Because I supposedly made more than enough money to support everyone's lifestyle choices. When Marcus lost the job, I had helped him get. Showing up late 3 times in his first week, I covered his car payments, so his credit wouldn't suffer. When Bella totaled her old car, I actually co-signed for a replacement vehicle in my own name. Stupid decision, I know that now. But I was still trying to be the good brother, the reliable son. When they announced they wanted to join the Japan trip, I didn't even hesitate. I adjusted all the reservations, added extra rooms, rebooked hotels that could accommodate a larger group. I even shifted my vacation time around to make their schedules work. And what did I receive in return for 3 months of planning and $9,400 of my money? A text message the morning of our departure. We gave your spot to Bella because she's more fun than you. That wasn't just an insult. It was a revelation. Because that one sentence confirmed what I had suspected for years. In my family's eyes, I wasn't loved or respected or even appreciated. I was useful. I was a wallet with a heartbeat, and the worst part was that I had allowed it to happen. But they weren't finished with me yet. Not even close. The morning after they landed in Tokyo, I received a text from Marcus. Hey, can you wire us some spending money? Bella forgot her card, and Dad says the exchange rates are terrible here. I didn't respond. An hour later, another message arrived. Come on, man. Don't be salty about this. This trip is supposed to be about Dad, not about you. I nearly threw my phone across the room. They had stolen my spot, my vacation, my moment with my father, and they still wanted more money from me. They still expected me to fund their entertainment while I sat alone in an empty house, with a rage I could barely control. I managed to stay quiet for 5 days. Let them enjoy their filtered social media posts about family bonding, while I processed what had really happened to me. But on day 5, everything changed. The hotel called me directly. Mr. Adams, we're contacting you because the credit card on file for your group reservation has been declined, and there's a discrepancy with the guest list. An authorized person has been added to your suite. That's when I understood their entire scheme. They had removed me from the reservation and replaced me with Bella without informing the hotel. They used my credit card to pay for her portion of the trip, assuming I would never notice or never have the courage to do anything about it. That assumption was their biggest mistake. The moment I realized they thought I would just accept this treatment forever was the moment something fundamental shifted inside me. So I logged into my banking app, flagged all the charges as fraudulent, and shut down the card immediately. Then I called the hotel back. Remove all guests from the reservation. Everything is cancelled. Please alert security that if anyone tries to dispute this decision, they are not authorized to make changes to my account. The manager paused uncertainly. Sir, they're currently in the rooms you booked. I'm aware of that, I replied calmly. They can find their own accommodations and their own way home. The day they returned from their ruined vacation, I was ready for them. I heard the car doors slamming outside, followed by loud, panicked voices. My mother's high-pitched complaints, Marcus shouting, Bella's voice rising above them all in shrill anger. I didn't rush to meet them. I stirred my coffee slowly and waited for the inevitable confrontation. The banging on my front door started immediately. Open up! Marcus yelled. We know you're in there. I walked to the entrance with my coffee still in hand, looked through the peephole, and saw all three of them standing on my porch. Red-faced, disheveled, with their luggage piled around them like refugees. Bella was barefoot for some reason I never learned. I unlocked the deadbolt and opened the door just enough to see their faces clearly. What happened to our keys? Marcus demanded immediately. I sipped my coffee calmly. Oh, you mean the ones I had changed? They don't work anymore. Seriously? He snapped. Are you actually serious right now? I nodded. Dead serious. My mother tried to push past him. We just survived a 14-hour flight. We're exhausted and hungry, and you're acting like a child. You're trespassing, I said simply. This is private property. You're joking, Bella cut in, her voice sharp with disbelief. You're actually locking out your own family? I stared at her for a long moment. You're not my family. Her jaw dropped. Marcus turned to me with wide eyes. Okay, this is really messed up. We were stranded in Tokyo with no money, no hotel, no internet access. Do you have any idea what that experience was like? Must have been tough, I said. Imagine being abandoned in a foreign country on someone else's money. Oh wait, that's exactly what you did to me. Marcus's face turned bright red. You humiliated us. You canceled everything. We couldn't even get transportation to the airport. Yeah, I said, crossing my arms. That tends to happen when you commit credit card fraud. My mother gasped dramatically. Fraud? Don't be so dramatic about this. I held up my phone, showing them a screenshot from the hotel manager's email. Unauthorized guest charges, I read aloud. Disputed transactions. Marcus, did you or did you not add Bella to the suite using my name and credit information? He opened his mouth, closed it, then looked helplessly at Bella. She just shrugged like it wasn't important. I stepped aside so they could see into the house, though there wasn't much left to see. The couch was gone. The dining table was gone. All the furniture they had been lounging on like they owned it had been donated to charity. The walls were completely bare. You emptied the entire house, my mother said, stepping forward in shock. Correction, I said. My house. The house where you've been living rent-free for 5 years, without contributing, without respect, without gratitude. My mother's face twisted with indignation. We're your family. This is disgusting. You're punishing us for one simple mistake. I actually laughed. One mistake? You stole my vacation, used my credit card, threw me out of my own plans for my father's birthday because I wasn't entertaining enough. Do you even hear yourselves right now? You're being petty, Bella said, rolling her eyes dismissively. You're mad because we had a better time without you there. That's when I stepped completely outside and closed the door behind me. You think this is about Japan? I asked, my voice quiet now. You think this is about one trip? No. This is about every moment I sacrificed for all of you. Every dollar I gave. Every time I let you live here rent-free while you laughed behind my back and treated me like your personal bank account. We didn't, my mother started to protest. You did, I interrupted. All of you. And now I'm finished with it. Marcus shook his head in complete disbelief. So what? We're homeless now. No, I said calmly. You have 2 weeks to find other arrangements. The rent has tripled, utilities are your responsibility, and the guest areas are permanently locked. If you want to stay here, you pay market rate like any other tenant. He scoffed. You can't be serious about this. Bella folded her arms defiantly. You can't just evict us like this. Actually, I said, pulling a copy of the lease agreement from my coat pocket. I can. It's legal, it's documented, and it's final. Also, your credit cards were declined this morning at the coffee shop downtown. I got the notification. The silence that followed was devastating. I turned to walk back inside, but Marcus grabbed my arm desperately. Wait, please, he said, his voice cracking. You don't understand. I don't have anywhere else to go. Bella thought this trip would bring us closer as a family. She didn't mean to hurt you. Bella opened her mouth to argue but stopped when she saw Marcus crying. I looked at him, really looked at my brother, and felt absolutely nothing. No pity, no anger, just a clean, cold emptiness. You were my brother, I said quietly, and traded me for entertainment value. That's not family. That's a reality show. Then I walked inside, locked the door, and left them standing there in the wind. 3 days. That's how long it took after their return for the real chaos to begin. The first morning was strangely quiet. I expected yelling, guilt trips, maybe a barrage of messages in our family group chat, but there was nothing. I had breakfast alone, coffee, and a croissant, and experienced a strange, satisfying sense of peace I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't just the silence you hear. It was the silence you carry inside when you're finally free from other people's demands. But by day 4, my phone finally started buzzing. "Can we talk?" My mother texted. "I'm sorry about what happened. We all made mistakes. Please don't do this to your father." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I realized I didn't owe them explanations anymore. For the first time in my adult life, I felt no obligation to justify my decisions to people who had never really listened anyway. Then, the real consequences started hitting them. The blocked credit cards became a daily source of frustration. Bella tried to buy coffee downtown and got declined twice. I received push notifications each time and found myself smiling. She posted an angry story on social media about vindictive people, then deleted it 5 minutes later. A week after the new lease terms kicked in, with rent tripled from the previous arrangement, I received an email from the family account. "Hi, we're struggling with the new rental costs. Could we discuss alternatives?" No signature, just the generic family email address. I ignored it completely. Meanwhile, Marcus, who had spent years lounging in my house without any steady employment, suddenly started picking up part-time work. A friend at my gym mentioned seeing him folding towels at the front desk. I didn't feel pity or satisfaction. I felt nothing, because his employment status was no longer my responsibility. I moved into a small loft apartment downtown. Concrete floors, tall windows, minimalist everything. No family-style clutter, no borrowed shoes in the hallway, no half-eaten leftovers that belonged to other people. I woke up at 7, hit the gym, worked from my home office, took evening walks, and for the first time in years, every moment and every dollar belonged entirely to me. No texts asking me to contribute to groceries. No guilt trips about helping with just a little money until payday. No phone calls from my mother saying it's your brother. How can you say no? Just silence. Beautiful. Earned silence. In week 2, Marcus finally sent a direct message. "I know I messed up. I really do. Bella left me. She said she didn't sign up for this kind of drama. I understand now. You were right about everything." I stared at that message for a long time. This was the same Marcus who had laughed at my planning, called me too serious, said I didn't know how to have fun. Now he was alone, abandoned by the fun girlfriend who had caused all this chaos, forced to face reality without his human credit card. I didn't reply to him either. Then the legal threat arrived. A letter from an attorney claiming my parents had partial ownership of the house based on alleged financial contributions over the years. My own lawyer explained they were requesting proof of these contributions, but so far they had provided nothing substantial. I laughed when I heard this. Not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd it didn't deserve any other response. They had always acted like my property belonged to them simply because we were related. My mother sent another message. "We didn't raise you to be like this. What would your father think about how you're treating us?" This time, I actually responded. "You raised me to serve you. That ends now." What shocked me most wasn't their anger or their legal threats. It was how quickly they fell apart without me. Marcus was working 10-hour shifts trying to cover basic expenses. My mother started calling old friends, the same people she used to mock for having ungrateful children. My father remained silent, as he always had, loyal to his policy of neutrality. Now they were living in the world they had created, one where I didn't exist to fix their problems. And me. I was sitting on a new couch in a new apartment, drinking coffee that nobody criticized, surrounded by nothing I hadn't chosen for myself. For the first time in my life, I wasn't being used. For the first time, I wasn't obligated to show up for people who never showed up for me. And for the first time, I wasn't angry about any of it. I was free. That 3 months had passed since I destroyed their vacation and changed the locks. I thought I might feel guilt or grief, maybe loneliness. But instead, I feel something much more powerful. Peace. I wake up now without dread, without waiting for the next request, the next manipulation disguised as a family favor. I don't flinch when my phone buzzes. I don't brace myself for guilt trips masked as check-ins. It feels like stepping out of a thick fog and breathing clearly for the first time. Last week, while unpacking in my new place, I found an old box I had forgotten about. Inside were photographs, birthday cards, and a folder labeled family documents. I opened it and found airline tickets, hotel receipts, restaurant confirmations from family vacations I had paid for over the years. It hit me like a revelation. Every family memory had been built on my credit card. They called me cold and heartless, but I was the only one who had kept their lights on for years. I flipped through some of the photographs, and in every single one, I was smiling, giving, planning, driving, paying. Everyone else looked relaxed and carefree, like passengers in a car they never had to steer. I used to think that made me strong and responsible. Now I understand it made me invisible. What they loved wasn't me as a person. It was my usefulness. And when I stopped being useful, they stopped pretending to love me. Marcus hasn't contacted me since Bella left him. I heard through mutual friends that he moved into a basement apartment and started delivering food for one of those app companies. For once in my life, I didn't feel superior or vindicated. I felt nothing, because his life choices are now his responsibility, not mine. Bella scrubbed her social media clean, deleted our family photos, unfollowed everyone. Her idea of fun ran out exactly when the free lifestyle did. My mother sent one final message. We didn't raise you to be like this. We miss who you used to be. I answered honestly. You miss the version of me who never said no. He's gone forever. My father has remained silent, of course. He always did. Years of watching things fall apart, while drinking his coffee and staying neutral. He never yelled or became violent. He just watched everything crumble with polite indifference, and honestly, that was worse than outright hostility. I stopped expecting closure from any of them, so I gave it to myself. I sat alone one evening with no television, no phone, just me and a glass of wine, watching the lights flicker on in other apartments around the city. For the first time in years, the quiet didn't feel empty. It felt earned. That night, I wrote something on a sticky note and placed it on my bathroom mirror. I owe no one more than I owe myself. Every morning since then, I read it like a daily affirmation. The people who once drained my energy now call me distant and changed. They're absolutely right. I did change. I used to be the bridge they walked across. Now I'm the ocean they can't cross. A few days ago, Marcus's ex-girlfriend Lisa sent me a message. We had barely spoken when she was dating my brother, but she had always been kind and quiet. You were the only one who saw through their treatment of you. It was wrong. I'm glad you escaped. You saved yourself. That message affected me more than it should have, because I had started wondering if maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was overreacting. Lisa reminded me I wasn't losing my mind. I was just the first person in the situation to wake up. I used to think walking away from family was selfish. Now I know it's self-preservation. They taught me that love requires sacrifice, but they never mentioned their sacrifice, only mine. They called me cruel when I blocked their credit cards. I call it boundaries. They called me heartless when I changed the locks. I call it self-respect. They called me selfish when I stopped funding their lifestyle. But they only called me selfish after I stopped being theirs. The best part of this whole experience? I don't hate them anymore. I don't wish them pain or failure. I just don't owe them anything, and that freedom feels like breathing for the first time in my adult life. Next week I'm flying to Iceland. A solo trip I've wanted to take for years but never could because there was always someone else's emergency, someone else's drama, someone else's vacation that I needed to fund instead. This time, I'm going for me. When I'm standing under those northern lights in the freezing air, thousands of miles from everything I used to carry for other people, I'm going to say something out loud that I've never been able to say before. I am not your safety net. I am not your backup plan. I am not your bank account. I am not your emergency contact. I am not your solution to problems you created. I am me. And for the first time in my life, that's enough. The family that taught me my worth was measured in dollars learned too late that some things can't be bought back. Respect, trust, love that isn't conditional on usefulness. They wanted the fun version of family without the responsibility. They got exactly what they asked for. A family vacation without me, a house without my support, a future without my involvement. And I got something even better, a life that belongs entirely to me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone else's life. It's finally building your own.